El riesgo cibernético dejó de ser un problema tecnológico. Hoy es un riesgo sistémico para las organizaciones que evoluciona constantemente. Y por ello requiere una gestión activa. Con un aumento drástico del trabajo remoto, la interconectividad de la cadena de suministro, las presiones hacia la digitalización y las vulnerabilidades críticas de las infraestructuras, las organizaciones están más expuestas que nunca. Para prosperar, deben pasar de la protección a la resiliencia. Las ciberamenazas no distinguen sectores y atacan a todo tipo de empresas, desde el grande corporativo hasta la empresa familiar. Con las nuevas tecnologías de transformación digital, la superficie de ataque para que los cibercriminales puedan penetrar crece. Muchas organizaciones ven la ciberseguridad como un problema operativo o tecnológico y gastan más cada año en soluciones de ciberseguridad. Sin embargo, la escala, la frecuencia y el impacto económico de los eventos cibernéticos sigue aumentando. En Marsh llevamos más de 25 años desarrollando y ofreciendo soluciones únicas para ayudar a nuestros clientes a comprender, medir y gestionar sus riesgos cibernéticos. Por ello te damos la bienvenida al Cyberforum 2023, todo acerca del más silencioso de los riesgos en Latinoamérica. Un espacio para generar un diálogo y análisis sobre la importancia de prepararse para los ciberataques y responder a ellos, transferir su riesgo y crear una gestión de riesgos y una resistencia duraderas. Bienvenidos, están en el Cyberforum 2023. ¡Comenzamos!
Muy buenos días. Bienvenidos, muchas gracias a todas las personas que nos acompañan el día de hoy de manera presencial y muchas gracias a todas las personas que nos acompañan de manera remota vía LinkedIn y están conectados con nosotros. Nos acompaña gente de toda Latinoamérica, tanto presencial como virtualmente, y les queremos dar las gracias por estar con nosotros. Principalmente los quiero invitar al voltear su gafet, tienen un código QR, en donde si me hacen favor de leerlo, vamos a tener, gracias a Blip, nuestro patrocinador, el tener acceso a, de primera mano, conocer la agenda del día de hoy, conocer a nuestros panelistas y poderlos seguir vía LinkedIn, sobre todo interactuar con sus preguntas durante las sesiones y si tienen algún problema o alguna duda, el que nosotros podamos atenderlos. A la gente que está conectada de manera remota, podemos de igual manera dar respuesta a sus dudas vía el chat y vía el QR, vía nuestro chat box, que nos permite interactuar de manera segura gracias a Blip. Y pues les cedo la palabra a Alex Bolbrugge, nuestro presidente de Marsh, México.
Tanto aquí en el foro como los que tenemos conectados en el vía LinkedIn y las otras streaming lines, digamos, en ese sentido. Les quiero dar la bienvenida a platicar sobre este tema de cyber, que hace algunos años todavía hablábamos de que era un riesgo emergente, y yo creo que ya no tiene nada de emergente. Yo creo que ya es un riesgo que existe, es un riesgo real, es un riesgo que todos tenemos en nuestras empresas e incluso de manera personal, ¿no? Creo que todavía hay muchísimo desconocimiento en cuestión de lo que puede suceder y es lógico porque además es un tema emergente, es un tema que constantemente se está moviendo junto con la tecnología, con el desarrollo de la tecnología, también todo el tema de ciberataques, etcétera, etcétera, todo se va moviendo y está evolucionando, está en constante evolución junto con la tecnología. Es un tema que va más allá de ser un tema puramente técnico. Yo creo que es un tema que le incumbe a todos los niveles de la organización. Y creo que debemos de empezar a crear ese conocimiento alrededor del tema a todos los niveles de nuestra organización, porque a final de cuentas, si llegamos a ser víctimas de un ciberataque, prácticamente toda la organización va a estar afectada de una manera u otra. Casi el 75% de las empresas han sufrido en su vida algún ataque cibernético. Entonces, las preguntas que normalmente nos hacemos es, ¿estamos listos para un ataque cibernético? ¿Sabemos cuantificar lo que podría ser una posible pérdida en un ataque cibernético? ¿Tengo la forma de mitigar los daños a causa de un ataque cibernético? Son todas preguntas que nos hacemos, pero creo que la pregunta más importante muchas veces es, ¿me atacarán? Pero más que preguntarme si me van a atacar, la verdadera pregunta es, ¿cuándo me van a atacar? Porque como decía yo, el 75% de las empresas, o casi el 75% de las empresas a nivel global han sido atacadas de una manera u otra. Entonces ya no es el que si me van a atacar, sino que casi el cuándo me van a atacar y si estoy preparado para ello. Entonces, con eso vamos a dar entrada a una serie de pláticas el día de hoy que van a ayudarles a entender el riesgo y a empezar a ver cómo manejar estos riesgos. Pero antes de empezar, quisiera yo agradecer a nuestros patrocinadores, que sin ellos este evento no hubiera sido posible. En especial AXA, CHOP, Blip, Cooper, Kennedy's, Arch, Qualys, Liberty Mutual, Mosaic y Beyond Trust, y en especial a nuestro principal sponsor, AIG. Muchísimas gracias por su ayuda, muchísimas gracias por su soporte y, como digo, sin ustedes no hubiera sido posible este foro el día de hoy. Y con eso doy la bienvenida a Tom Reagan, es nuestro líder global de Cyber en Marsh, y con eso, Tom, please welcome to this forum, and the forum is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm sorry I'm not able to speak in Spanish, but really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much to our sponsors and to all of the Marsh colleagues who make this possible, and of course thanks to you, our clients, without which there really is no opportunity. I thought today I would just take a few moments to relate some of my experiences looking at cyber risk from a global basis and help frame the discussion for today. So first, I thought I might do a little bit on the cybersecurity landscape, talk about how that's playing through, of course, into the insurance market, talk about what we think is the real essence of the challenge around cyber, which is risk management, not just security or insurance. And then, of course, it wouldn't be an opening comment without some predictions and an opportunity to look forward. So cybersecurity, cyber risk is a big problem. These are large numbers wherever you are in the world. Estimates are that cybercrime is going to cost the economy in excess of $10 trillion over the next 5 years, billions of dollars being lost every year to ransomware. And what are we doing about it? Well, we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars a year on cybersecurity in an attempt to make cyber risk more manageable. In short, the problem has never been bigger, even though we have never spent more. And that's true even here in Latin America. There'll be a lot of numbers that come out today, but these are some numbers from a global report called the Verizon Report that report on incidents globally. And as we saw in the past year, there were 535 reported events in Latin America. Now, one of the major differences about Latin America versus other markets like Europe and the US is the relative lack of events around data breaches. And that's because the regulatory and legal regimes are very, very different. In fact, you see there's only about 65 confirmed data breach events. But that means that actually the problem around questions of ransomware, business interruption, et cetera, is actually that much bigger. We'll talk about what that means, but I think that means that there's a huge challenge here. And you see, it's a wide range of attacks, a wide range of methodologies, a wide range of threat actors. One of the questions that I always get as I travel around the world is, how does cyber risk relate to where we are and we operate? And I think this paints a picture that cyber risk is just as real and vivid and important in Latin America as it is elsewhere in the world. And I think it actually will become even more so over the next couple of years. So what are we doing about it? Overwhelmingly, organizational response. This is a study that we have conducted in the past with Microsoft to survey leaders around the globe about organizational response to cyber risk. Overwhelmingly, what are we doing about it? Well, we're spending money on stuff to fix it, right? You have a problem, you go out and you fix it. Also, what are we doing? We're getting ready for the inevitable. We're doing a lot of training. What we're seeing, though, cyber insurance still down the road. Now, that's not necessarily a bad choice, right? If their building's on fire, step one is probably to put it out or attempt to put it out before we buy insurance. But it does show that cyber insurance is a really important part of the ecosystem and that organizations are undertaking a wide range of different activities across both mitigation and risk transfer in order to deal with the cyber risk challenge. Now, what's actually going on in the cyber insurance environment? It's a very interesting environment on a global basis over the past couple of years. First of all, claims are very uncertain. There was a global wave of ransomware in 2019, 2020, into 2021 that cost organizations across the globe millions, if not billions of dollars. However, there's been a lot of activity undertaken to help mitigate that. So the question is, what comes next? And we're already seeing in the first 6 months of 2023 a rapid evolution in the activities of threat actors. Now, one of the other key drivers is the geopolitical tensions. I think this is a really critical issue for Latin America. A lot of ransomware historically has been aimed at the US and Western Europe. And part of that is because there's a lot of wealth in those economies, but also it's because a lot of the threat actors have geopolitical ambitions. What's changed is not only have organizations in those environments become more mature, but in addition, there's been a much stronger government response, particularly in the United States, to go back at the threat actors in Russia, in Iran, in North Korea, who are driving a lot of this activity. It's not as easy or safe to go after organizations in the US as it was several years ago. But the need to perpetrate cybercrime, the need to secure these illicit funds, either for criminal gangs who are well developed or for rogue nations, remains. I think that will lead to an increase in activity outside of the US, where perhaps the ability for a coordinated government policy response is lessened. So I think actually the risks are growing outside the US because the threat actors aren't going to just go away, they're going to move. And I think it's likely they'll end up here. Now, interestingly, pricing has gone down. We'll have some more on that on the next slide, but actually the purchasing environment has become more benign over the past 12 months because as underwriters have gotten comfortable with organizational controls around the last generation of cyber events, they're more comfortable that the prices are currently adequate and that organizations are well protected. And so we're seeing a really favorable pricing environment. I'll show you some data on that in a second. What has also been interesting is the rapid evolution in the coverage space. What I think is important to understand about the evolution in coverage, it's not as much about reduction in coverage, which is the historical insurance response to risk issues. It's much more about grappling with issues that are on the horizon or are potentially on the horizon. So the industry right now is starting to come to grips with questions around generative AI, similar issues, but we're also seeing a big focus and trying to understand what is the true potential for cyber catastrophes. We haven't seen one, but we could, and that's causing a lot of anxiety for underwriters. So there's a lot of evolution in terms of the coverage environment, but the truth is a lot of it is much more about the future than reducing the coverage of today. All of that has led to a fairly benign pricing environment. And so if you look at our global pricing data, what you'll see is that prices are generally flat to up around the globe, but that the rate of increases has significantly deteriorated over the past 12 months. We expect that trend to continue. And we also know that the pricing is going to be very volatile. You saw a huge spike in pricing in 19, 20, and 21 because of that rise of the ransomware epidemic. When the next cyber event hits, there will be an insurance response, but potentially from an area of much higher price adequacy, so hopefully more muted. But right now, today, through the rest of the year and probably into 24, we expect it to be a very favorable, benign environment for clients to renew their programs or to purchase new coverage. So how does it all fit together? I think the key to understand is that organizations don't have a cybersecurity problem. They don't have a cyber insurance problem. What they have is a cyber risk problem. And by cyber risk, we mean the reality that organizations will have to continue to make difficult choices with limited information and financial constraints against a very dynamic and fluid risk environment effectively for the rest of our careers. That's a risk issue. That's not a security issue. There's no amount of spending and no technology that can eliminate this risk. All we can do is learn to live with it. And so, as I think Alex mentioned before, at Marsh, we think about the entire cyber risk spectrum. How do we help organizations with all elements of the risk? Not just insurance, but understanding, measuring, and manage their risk, thinking about how to prepare for events, and how to find the right partners and tools and controls to protect their organization. It really is about cyber risk. And at Marsh, we're committed to helping you on that journey. Now, it's not just, I think the slide's stuck. It's not just about the challenge of, we'll try one more time. No, they don't like that slide. That's fine. The issue is actually a time of tremendous opportunity. All of these trends are coming together at an unprecedented rate to transform the way that we work, that our businesses operate, and the potential for us to connect into the global economy and create value for our customers and our stakeholders. It's an incredibly exciting time. You know, the history of the past 150 years has been one of tremendous technological change, but the pace of technological change has accelerated like never before. Major trends like the adoption of mobile computing, where effectively every human on the planet is instantly reachable with a powerful device overnight, or artificial intelligence and its ability to allow us to unlock new ways of working and new capabilities, are absolutely creating incredible opportunity. So one of the questions we get a lot is, in that context, how do we really think about the cyber risk question? Because you can't just say no to this technology. This technology is incredibly empowering and enabling. It will unlock tremendous value for our organizations. There is only one choice. We have to move forward. The question is, how do we do so in a safe and effective manner? Now, my prediction for the future is that along with this incredible possibility for technological development, we have yet to really see the full potential of what will happen with cyber events. And I think that's particularly relevant in Latin America. Because in the United States and in Western Europe, well, let me back up. This is the CIA triad. These are the three different qualities of a piece of data that you can protect. Confidentiality. I know it and you don't. Integrity. I can trust that the data is accurate. Availability, I can get access to that data and I can use it to help run my business. Each of those different assets can be protected. What we've seen in the early days of cyber risk in the US and Western Europe was really attacks on confidentiality, the data being secret, and the value associated with that. And we still see a lot of industrial espionage, but it doesn't cost us a lot of money outside the US with its extensive notification regimes. The ransomware epidemics have really been about a question of availability. How do I access this information? It might not be destroyed, but I can't use it. Now, one of the challenges is that these three capabilities, like the sides of a triangle, are opposed. Everything you do to improve confidentiality and availability necessarily weakens your ability to protect the integrity of the data. And so if I have one prediction for the next 10 years, it's that we have yet to really see what attacks on data integrity will mean. And this will affect all organizations. When you come in tomorrow and you can't trust what's in your customer database, or your warehouse inventory, or your patient medical records, that's going to be truly terrifying for organizations. And everything we've done to protect against confidentiality and availability is going to weaken our ability to respond to that. I think that is why it's so important for business leaders, while seizing these opportunities, to really embrace cyber risk management and cyber risk thinking and recognize that there is no perfect solution. It's just a series of hard choices. I also think that even if organizations are comfortable with their own capabilities and comfortable with their own posture, increasingly we live in a hyper-connected world. And so organizations aren't just exposed to their own CIA triad, but the CIA triad of their partners in supply chain and their partners in supply chain as well. Whoa, guess that one's gone. The point is, it's an incredibly exciting and dynamic opportunity. We have to lean into it.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
We have to do so through cyber risk management.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
We're very excited for the content today.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Thank you very much, and with that, I'll turn it
6,
back over to you.
7,